Hello and welcome to a Bible study with me. Today we will be studying Genesis chapter 7 and 8. Let's go. Then the Lord said to Noah, "Come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. You shall take with you." I'm reading it wrongly. Let me go over again. Genesis chapter 7 verse 1. Then the Lord said to Noah, "Come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation." Verse 2. You shall take with you 7 each. This is very interesting. 7. 7 each of every clean animal, a male and his female. 2 each of every animal that are unclean, a male and his female, and also 7 each of birds of the air, male and female, to keep the species alive on the face of all the earth. For after 7 more days I will cause it to rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and I will destroy from the face of the earth all living things that I have made. And Noah did according to all that the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters were on the earth. Just a quick revise of what we just read. It said you take 7 each of every clean animal. 7, not 2. Okay? Male and female. If it's 7, after a point, it will not be complete. It's either going to be 3 male and 4 female, or 4 male and 3 female. You get my point? Anyway, it says 7 of every clean animal, a male and his female. Then 2 of every animal that are unclean. Another quick point. At this point in time, right, up to this point, we have not heard of clean animal and unclean animal. So which animal is clean, which animal is unclean? At this point in time, there has not been any discussion of, okay, these are clean. So they already knew. No one knew. God must have told him, these animals are clean, these animals are not clean. But I'm just pointing out that up to this point, there will be no mention of clean animal and unclean animal. The only mention that we have seen is the animals that God blessed and told to multiply, and the ones that God did not tell or God did not bless and God did not tell to multiply, or the animal that the cattle of the ground that God when he caused the serpent, when he mentioned that you shall be more cursed than the cattle or something like that in past chapter that we have read. Those are the only mention of, but it's not clarified. I've said this thing before. The more we read, the more it gets clearer. So let's keep going. Anyway, so it's 7 animals for the birds and 7 of the clean animals, then 2 of those that are unclean. They went male and female. Verse 7. So Noah with his sons, his wife, and his son's wife went into the ark because of the waters of the flood, of clean animals, of animals that are unclean, of birds, and of everything that creeps on the earth. 2 by 2, they went into the ark to Noah, male and female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 7th, I don't know why I'm saying this, I'm reading. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, okay, on that day, all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened, and the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. Quick recap. So we just mentioned 7 animals of clean, 7 birds, and 2 unclean. But they all went 2 by 2, 2, 2 each, 2, 2 each, 2, 2 each to the ark. Then Noah, his wife, his son, and their wives also. Then remember when the beginning of the creation, it was all water, it was all deep, it was all black and darkness, and God separated it. There were waters in the firmament, which is the heaven, and waters on earth that were now divided into sea and land. God just practically unleash all the waters, like waters take over. You open the windows of the heavens, the water pour out continuously for 40 days and 40 nights. Interesting. Verse 13. On the very same day, Noah and Noah's son Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Noah's wife and the three wives of his son with them entered the ark. They and every beast after its kind, all cattle after their kind, every creeping thing that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, every bird of every sort. And they went into the ark of Noah, two by two, of all flesh in which is the breath of life. That's also interesting. So every living thing have the breath of life, which is interesting. Um, so those that entered, male and female of all the flesh, went in as God had commanded him, and the Lord shot him in. And God lock him point. God shot him in. Sorry. Now the flood was on the earth 40 days, and the waters increased and lifted up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. The waters prevailed and greatly increased on the earth, and the ark moved about on the surface of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly on the earth, and all the high hills under the whole heaven was covered. The waters prevailed 15 cubits upwards, and the mountains were covered. Wow. So I remember the length of um the ark was 300, the width was 50, and the height was 30. So it was kind of really heavy and stoic, you know. And that's just, but it also mentions here that the water filled the air, that in the highest tip of the hills and mountains we are filled with at least 50. I don't know what is 50, the equivalent of 15 cubit now, right now, just studying like this, but pretty high, higher than the tip of the highest mountain. Much higher than that was how high the waters rose. So it made navigation for the ark simpler. So the ark would not start hitting him. The ark was just hovering around on top of the water, like the way the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the deep in the beginning of creation. I'm just making that analysis. Anyway, and everything was covered with water. Verse 21. And all the flesh died that moved on the earth, birds and cattle and beasts, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, and every man, all in whose nostrils were the breath of life, all that was on the dry land died. So it destroyed all living things that were on the face of the ground, both man and cattle, creeping thing and bird of the air. They were destroyed from the earth. Only Noah and those who were with him in the ark remained alive, and the waters prevailed on the earth 150 days. Wow. Wow. So not just for the 40 days and 40 nights. After the 40 days and 40 nights, for 150 days, there was water still on the earth. We slowly started living like. I can imagine to have water that high, it will take a while before the waters will, you know, evaporate or whatever. Chapter 8, verse 1. Something also very interesting. Then God remembered Noah and every living thing and all the animals that were with him in the ark, and God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters subsided. The fountains of the deep and the windows of heaven were also stopped, and the rain from the heaven was restrained, and the waters receded continually from the earth. At the end of the 150 days, the waters decreased, and the ark rested in the seventh month, the 17th day of the month, on the mountains of Ararat. and the waters decreased continually until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the first day of the month, the tops of the mountains were seen. If you could make this calculation, you see how long it took. But I'm not going to make the calculation now because I don't know how you calculate the months here. I don't want to just make assumptions and use our monthly calendar. You understand? But you can see the specific time it took. But it was also clearly written here like 150 days after the 40 days and 40 nights, there was still waters on the earth. So you can have an estimate in your head as well in that regard. But that was very interesting. Verse 6. So it came to pass at the end of the 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made. Then he sent out a raven which kept going to and fro until the waters had dried up on the earth. He also sent out from himself a dove to see if the waters had receded from the face of the ground. But the dove found no resting place for the sole of her feet, and she returned unto the ark to him, for the waters were on the face of the whole earth. So he put out his hand and took her and drew her into the ark to himself, and waited yet another 7 days. And again the dove, and again he sent the dove out from the ark. Then the dove came to him in the evening, and behold, a freshly plucked olive leaf was in her mouth. And Noah knew that the waters had receded from the earth. So he waited yet another 7 days, and sent out the dove, which did not return to him anymore. Interesting how to understand whether there was no more waters, he sent out a raven. I don't know what happened to the raven, but we are seeing about the dove, how the dove went and came and went and came until it did not come anymore. He now understood that okay, it's all dried up. Verse 13. And it came to pass in the 601st year, in the first month, on the first day of the month, that the waters were dried up from the earth, and Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and indeed the surface of the ground was dry. And in the second month, in the 27th day of the month, the earth was dried. It still did not come out until verse 15. Then God spoke to Noah, saying, Go out of the ark. Okay. You and your wife and your son's wife with you. Bring out with you every living thing of all flesh that is with you, birds and cattle and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, so that they may abound on the earth and be fruitful and multiply on the earth. Oh, now he's blessing them, and I think the cattle are now among. Yeah, let me read it again slowly. Verse 17. Bring out with you every living thing of all flesh that is with you, birds and cattle and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, so that they may abound on the earth and be fruitful and multiply on the earth. I will take it. But I just want to pause here and just note this particular thing. I didn't want to be too flimsy with it. I'm taking this Bible reading seriously. I'm noticing that there was no mention of the sea creatures. Right? I don't think there was a need to now bring sea creatures into the ark as well. I don't think anything happened to them. It was not specifically written. I was careful to wait up to this point to see if maybe, but nothing alludes to show that they were written the sea creatures. You know, it talks about the birds, the cattle, creeping things, anything that creeps on the earth. There's no mention of the sea creatures. Alright. Verse 18. So Noah went out, and his sons and his wife and his son's wife with him, every animal, every creeping thing, every bird, and whatever creeps on the earth, according to their families, went out of the ark. Alright. Now verse 20. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and took of every clean animal and of every clean bird all, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And the Lord smelled a soothing aroma. Then the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground for man's sake, although the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth, nor will I again destroy every living thing as I have done, while the earth remains. Seed time and harvest, cold and heat, winter and summer, day and night shall not cease. Mm, Two things. The first thing is, now we see the reason why there were seven of every clean animal and seven of every bird, because after they came out of the ark, he took from the birds and the clean animals and offered an offering to God. He built an altar and offered the burnt offering. If you had did the burnt offering with the animals, precise animals that were in the ark, like those species will no longer exist anymore. But to preserve that species, so practically like five of the clean animals, two were to continue their lineage of the species. Then the remaining five of both the birds and the clean animals were for the offering that he made. And just to clarify my curiousness, God had told him to take with you seven of every clean animal and seven of the birds. But just was not God that told him to make the a burnt offering. So he now used his own um, IQ to know that okay, the birds and the clean animals, the surplus of them, should use it for a burnt offering to God. He just added 2 plus 2 together. All right. Then the other thing I want to point out is the covenant that God now had. It's like, even if I continuously see that man's heart is evil and they keep, sinning, I will not destroy living thing as I have done just now. Then I now sealed it, saying, as long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, winter and summer, day and night shall not cease. That was beautiful. May the Lord bless His word in our hearts. May He give us wisdom and understanding to understand this word and to flourish. And may it be a light to our paths in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.